Paradise Decay TM. He's a Yognaut. He's a long time awesome guy who's made some amazing stuff.
Hello, I am lead developer Philip Victor and I'd like to welcome you to Half-Life 2 update and its brand new community commentary mode. This latest version of the update was certainly the most ambitious version yet and has taken 3 years of development to get it just right. My goal is to create an experience where long-time fans can replay the game they love in a new and improved form, and first-time players can have an experience that's closer to modern visual and technical standards while also maintaining and respecting the 2004's original sensibilities, gameplay and concepts. This community commentary feature aims to provide information not mainly on the development of the update itself, but on the development of the original Half-Life 2 using research and community input. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your use key. To stop a commentary node, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press the use key again. Consider joining the official Steam group to give me your impression and suggestions and stay on top of Half-Life 2 updates news. Thanks and have fun!
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until... well, let's just say your hour has come again. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
Let's see you get on. End of the line.
Welcome.
We opted to label this as a community commentary as opposed to developer commentary for several reasons. First and foremost, we were not developers that worked on any official release of Half-Life 2, but also because we want to approach this commentary not as a developer, but as fans of the game. I was responsible for creating most of the commentary, with the help of several other Half-Life fans and members of our Steam group. Any nodes pertaining to the development of the update will be read by Victor and myself, and any nodes with facts and insight into the original Half-Life 2 and its development will be read by Ross Scott and our friends from Did You Know Gaming. Many people pitched in a lot of time and energy to make this happen, and I hope it will be something you enjoy. Thanks.
This train station is our first introduction to City 17 and the world of Half-Life 2. Valve's level designers had to carefully craft every aspect of this scene to convey its oppressive atmosphere. This sort of environmental storytelling was something that Valve pioneered back in the days of Half-Life 1, and it allowed them to flesh out a setting without ever taking control away from the player. One advantage of Half-Life 2's approach when compared to Half-Life 1's opening train ride sequence is that players can explore at their own pace and learn a lot of additional information by interacting with the characters. All of these techniques are key parts of maintaining the player's sense of immersion and are quite prevalent throughout the first few chapters of the game.
You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to
This
one
first
our
sighting of a
finest remaining
Vortigaunt
urban
serves
centers.
two purposes. It's a reminder of the events of Half-Life 1, and it's a sign of how the situation has changed since the Black Mesa incident. A member of a race who was once a foe for the player now complacently sweeps a station platform while a civil protection officer hovers nearby. The Vortigaunt's subservient posture and lack of hostility towards the player is one of the first indications that the human and Vortigaunt races have met a similar fate.
I thought so much of City 17 that I elected
the only
to
ones on that
establish
train?
my administration here, in the citadel so thoughtfully provided by our benefactors. I've been proud to call City 17 my home. And so, whether you are here to stay or passing
Dr. Breen
through on
again?
your way to Park
I was hoping I'd seen the last of him in City 14.
to City 17.
This sequence clearly illustrates the division of humanity into loyalists and lower middle class individuals. The contrast between the faceless metro cops who have traded away their humanity for power and the terrified citizens clinging to their few remaining shreds of normality shows the relationship between the two factions perfectly.
It's safer.
Something that is made evident over the course of the game is the Combine's treatment of Earth and everyone on it as commodities, shipping people from one place to another and harvesting them with only token regard for how their loss affects anything else. The citizens' prison-style uniforms are some of the first indications of this, though the theme is reinforced later by the Combine's use of part biological, part mechanical synths from their previous conquests.
You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers.
This must be a mistake. I got a standard relocation coupon just like everybody else.
10-103 my location. Alert tag units.
Barney and Dr. Kleiner were developed from the generic scientists and security guards of Half-Life 1. The entire supporting cast of the original Half-Life consisted of only a few voice actors and character models, so Valve decided to distill the characteristics of those NPCs into fully developed, fleshed-out individuals for Half-Life 2. The state-of-the-art facial animations and detailed visuals of the Source engine gave Valve great tools to tell stories of a much more personal nature, and they've used these tools to create a core cast of iconic characters that lend far more weight to the storyline.
About that beer I owed you. It's me, Gordon. Barney from Black Mesa. Hey, sorry for the scare. I had to put on a show for the cameras. I've been working undercover with civil protection. I can't take too long or they'll get suspicious. I'm way behind on my beating quota.
Yes, Barney, what is it? I'm in the middle of a critical test.
Sorry, Doc, but look who's here.
Great Scott! Gordon Freeman! I expected more warning.
Yeah, you and me both, Doc. He was about to board the express to Nova Prospect.
Well, Barney, what do you intend?
I'm thinking.
Alex is around here somewhere. She would have a better idea how to get him here.
Oh, as long as he stays away from checkpoints, we should be okay. Listen, I gotta go, Doc. We're taking enough chances as it is.
Very well. And, Gordon, good to see you.
Okay, Gordon. You're gonna have to make your own way to Dr. Kleiner's lab. Oh, man, that's what I was afraid of. Get in here, Gordon, before you blow my cover. Pile up some stuff to get through that window and keep going till you're in the plaza. I'll meet up with you later.
The infamous "pick up that can" segment serves a dual purpose. It puts the player in the place of one of this world's downtrodden civilians, while also teaching the player how to interact with this world he or she is now a part of. As this was one of the first games to pioneer fully interactive physics-based worlds, players were shocked not only because they were asked to pick up the can, but because they could. Actions speak louder than words, and because the encounter takes place solely within the mechanics of the game, the player is free to respond exactly how he or she chooses, and can roleplay Gordon in a more meaningful way than with a dialogue option. This moment has become an enormous inside joke with the Half-Life community, spawning many parodies and references.
Thank you for writing. Of course, your question touches on one of the basic biological impulses, with all its associated hopes and fears for the future of the species. I also detect...
Breen's speeches demonstrate some of the game's most interesting characterization, because they provide not only his motivations and some local news, but they also betray the internal conflict that's central to his character. It's clear from the rehearsed and detached sound in his voice that he's likely to have put a lot of mental effort into justifying his decision to sell humanity into eternal servitude and conformity. His lofty, transhumanist rhetoric often seems to be as much to convince himself as it is to the citizens that he addresses.
This is the player's first view of the outside world, and the Citadel is what will immediately draw the player's attention. Since it is first viewed while aligned with the Breencast monitor atop the obelisk, it is easy for the two to be instantly connected in the player's mind. The Citadel's gigantic size not only shows the Combine's immense power, but also allows the player to see it from many locations throughout the game, anchoring the player within the world and building it up as the location for the final struggle.
First, let us consider the fact that for the first time ever, as a species, this simple fact has far-reaching implications.
When designing Half-Life 2, the team at Valve decided on an Eastern European setting and wanted City 17 to appear to have grown naturally over time like most cities in Europe. To achieve this realistic look, they started by first designing the older buildings, and then added in layers of newer and newer buildings from different eras. Finally, they added the Combine architecture, for example the barricades, catwalks, watchtowers, and of course the Citadel, to show that the Combine are now a part of the city's history.
Several times throughout this commentary, there are references to Half-Life 2's realistic look. Those familiar with Half-Life 2 will know it is, in fact, quite stylized, so I'd like to explain what this means. Half-Life 2 is based on our world, and it tries very much to have a good sense of realism, something it carries over from its predecessor. Guns and items don't hover, rotating in midair, characters have realistic proportions, and much of the in-game architecture is based off of, or inspired by, real-world buildings. Half-Life 2 is stylized, but it has a bent towards presenting its world in a realistic way, and that's the issue we are discussing.
In early versions of Half-Life 2, views of citizen life were restricted to minor window glimpses. The development team had plans for a rooftop segment, but had no existing designs for getting the player up there from the courtyards and streets. By adding in the apartment building, players were then able to interact with the citizens who would not speak to them on the streets, and gain further insight as to how citizens live under Combine law.
Was that you knocking? I didn't even know we still had a door.
The televised broadcasts inside citizens' homes revealed the extent to which the Combine's propaganda has intruded into every aspect of the citizens' lives, contributing to the dystopian, prison-like feel of City 17. The very simple act of allowing players to unplug the TV and fling it out a window lets these players express some rebellion towards the Combine while showcasing Source's physics system and the freedom it offers.
Can't take it anymore.
These two citizens, who are known as the sad couple or the consoling couple, show up multiple times throughout the Half-Life 2 series to illustrate the emotional impact that Combine rule has on Earth's enslaved population. Though their poses never change, their dialogue does, and it branches out into more direct exposition regarding the current events within the world. This shows the player how others react to their actions, creating the illusion that the game's world is far larger and more dynamic than the current map being played.
What are we going to do?
We'll think of something.
When is it all going to end?
Don't worry.
Please.
It's all right.
The apartment block raid was added later into the game's development, and Valve was initially worried that players would not feel compelled to run, causing the sequence to be confusing and overly difficult. When playtesting started, however, players would panic, but almost always know what to do. Upon escaping the raid through the attic, players often felt as though they had barely escaped.
Failure to cooperate will result in fatality or worse, relocation.
The apartment block raid was added later into the game's development, and Valve was initially worried that players would not feel compelled to run, causing the sequence to be confusing and overly difficult.
Identification check in progress. Assemble in your designated inspection position.
Get in here, quick! Keep moving!
Up until this point, City 17 had only been viewed by the player from the ground level. This rooftop escape provides a clear, bird's-eye view of the city to greater establish the location that will become central to the rest of the game, with a nice sense of scale. The Combine air and ground forces visibly mobilizing also offers the player a brief glimpse of the stronger foes that will be confronted directly later in the game.
Over here! Ha! No, you don't!
Dr. Freeman, I presume.
I better hurry.
The Combine can be slow to wake, but once they're up, you don't want to get in their way.
Alex Vance is a character that is central to the Half-Life 2 saga. The close-up view that the player sees after she takes out the Metro cops places her into the spotlight, setting her up as a central character, while showcasing Source's revolutionary facial animation technology. To ensure that the player's attention continues to be on Alex during these introductory moments, a convenient elevator ride removes any distractions from the area as the player becomes acquainted with her. Her dialogue there and in the segments that follow provide context for her character and explains her relationships to the other characters that players have already met.
I'm sure you don't remember me, though. And a few words, aren't you? Remember him from Black Mesa? Your old administrator. Don't get my dad started on Dr. Breen. Through here. Funny, you showing up on this day in particular. We've been helping people escape the city on foot. It's a dangerous route to my father's lab, through the old canals. Today, we're finally on the verge of having a better way. Here, let me buy you a drink. Oh, and by the way, nice to finally meet you.
Where did she get to? Lamar, come out of there!
Uh-oh, everything all right, Dr. Kleiner?
Oh, hello, Alex. Well,
this was the first choreographed scene created for Half-Life 2, and was used as a template for similar scenes throughout the rest of the game. Scripts went through many revisions with the aid of feedback from the animators. It was important that the scenes be engaging and interesting for the players watching it, and for the animators creating it. Once the scripts were in the final stages, the lines would be recorded and turned into a radio play. These scenes needed to convince players that the world and characters in it were real and tangible. This was accomplished through visible, physical interactions between different characters, and between the characters and their environment. A handshake or hug between characters, or having someone pick up an in-world object and present it to the player, went a long way toward making Half-Life 2's world appear tangible.
If I didn't know better, I'd suspect Barney of trapping and... My goodness. Gordon Freeman. It really is you, isn't it?
I found him wandering around outside. Bit of a troublemaker, isn't he?
We owe a great deal to Dr. Freeman, even if trouble does tend to follow in his wake.
During long expository scenes such as this one, Valve prefers to let the player look and walk around freely, rather than seizing player control for a cutscene. These scripted sequences are densely packed with detail and optional interactions, and the player can decide where to focus his or her attention. This method of storytelling helps to build immersion through interactivity, and allows returning players to entertain themselves with things they might have missed the last time they played.
I must say, Gordon, you come at a very opportune time. Alex has just installed the final piece for our resurrected teleport.
I can't take any credit for the breakthrough, Doctor.
Nonsense. Your talents surpass your loveliness.
Let's just see if this thing works, okay?
Well, is he here? There you are. Man, Gordon, you stirred up the hive. We can't keep him here long, Doc. It'll jeopardize everything we've worked for.
Don't worry. He's coming with me.
That's right, Barney. This is a red letter day. We'll inaugurate the new teleport.
Those who had
with
played the
double
first Half-Life were
transmission.
very impressed with the sparse and primitive dramatic scenes within the game. This positive response inspired Valve to push the boundaries of in-game dramatics in Half-Life 2. In order for the game's characters to be compelling, they needed to have realistic and expressive faces. After trying to achieve this via several methods, and being unhappy with the results, they stumbled upon the work of Dr. Paul Ekman, who wanted a clinical way to describe overall facial expressions. He accomplished this by breaking the range of facial expressions down into 40 or so small facial adjustments, like the raising of an eyebrow or the puckering of the lips. By understanding how these adjustments combined together and affected each other to form expressions, a system could be formed that would recreate these small adjustments on a computer-generated face, achieving the realistic and expressive faces that are a hallmark of Half-Life 2.
You mean it's working? For real this time? Because I still have nightmares about that cat.
No, there's nothing to be nervous about.
What cat?
We've made major strides since then. Major strides.
What cat?
Doc, since he's not taking the streets, you might as well get him out of his civvies.
What? Oh dear, you're right. I almost forgot. Barney, I'll give you the honor.
I've got to get back on my shift, but okay.
Power armor is common among first-person shooters. Its primary purpose is to provide an in-world explanation for important gameplay elements, like why the player can take so many bullets, and the existence of a heads-up display. The HEV suit in particular is useful as it alerts the player of environmental hazards, as well as the current status of Gordon's health. Half-Life 2's HEV Mark V appears to be composed mostly of a Kevlar or chainmail-like material, which seems far more realistic than Half-Life 1's rigid and metallic design for the Mark IV. In fact, the Mark V was to be much more flexible, resembling a leather torture suit. However, this was inevitably scrapped, presumably due to a more familiar design that was faithful to the original game.
Here we go. Ah! Damn it, get it off me!
Lamar, there you are.
I thought you got rid of that pest.
Certainly not. Never fear, Gordon. She's debeaked and completely harmless. The worst she might do is attempt to couple with your head, fruitlessly.
Get that thing away from me!
Here, my pet. Up. No, not up there. No. Careful, Lamar. Those are quite fragile. Oh, fie. It'll be another week before I can coax her out of there.
Yeah, longer if we're lucky.
Barney, you're not an animal person.
Well, Gordon, go ahead. Slip into your suit now. Gordon, if you please, I'm eager to see if your old suit still fits. Well, Gordon, I see your HEV suit still fits you like a glove. At least the glove parts do. I've made a few modifications, but I'll just acquaint you with the essentials. Now, let's see. The Mark V Hazardous Environment suit has been redesigned for comfort and utility. Oh dear.
Doc, we don't have time for this. At least get that suit juiced up, Gordon.
Good idea. There's a charger on the wall. I've modified your suit to draw power from Combine energy outlets, which are plentiful wherever they patrol.
Meanwhile, let's get this show on the road. Well, come on. Dr. Kleiner waiting. You coming?
Why don't you position yourself near the panel over there and wait for my word?
Isaac, are you there?
Yes, Eli. Bit of a holdup on this end. You'll never guess who found his way into our lab this morning.
That's not who I think it is it?
Indeed it is. And it's our intention to send him packing straight away in the company of your lovely daughter.
Are you ready for us, Dad?
You're all set on this end.
Then let's do it.
Let's see. The massless field flux should self-limit and tap the manufacturer's tools. LT won't fall. Conditions could hardly be more ideal. That's what you said last time.
Hey, yeah, about that cat.
Initializing in 3, 2, 1. No fiddlesticks. What now?
Doctor, the plug.
Dear me, you're right. Gordon, would you mind plugging us in?
It's right there, Gordon.
Excellent.
You gonna let Gordon throw the switch?
Gordon, go right ahead. Very good. Final sequence. Commencing now.
I can't look.
Well, did it work?
See for yourself.
Hey, Doc.
Thank goodness. My relief is almost palpable.
Fantastic work, Izzy.
Well, I can't take all the credit. Dr. Freeman proved an able assistant.
Let's go ahead and bring Gordon through now.
Right you are. Speak to you again in a few moments.
Good job, Gordon. Throwing that switch and all. I can see your MIT education really pays for itself.
All right, Barney. Your turn.
Gee, thanks.
Gordon, as soon as you're in position, we'll send you to Eli's.
And not a moment too soon.
Excellent. Initializing in 3, 2, 1. Barney, if you'll be so kind.
Good luck out there, Gordon.
Yes, indeed. We're ready to project you, Gordon. Bon voyage, and best of luck in your future endeavors. Final sequence. The hell? What is it? It's your head. Freaking head hopper! Mark, heavy, slow down!
Gordon, hey, look!
Something's drawing him away.
What's the meaning of this? Who are you? How did you get in here?
Just lost Gordon. What's going on?
I'm encountering unexpected interference.
Don't worry, Gordon.
All but certain it was Gordon Freeman. He didn't come through.
Then where is he?
Behind you. Shut it down, shut it down.
Gordon, you must get out of here. Run!
Get down out of sight. I'll come find you.
The teleport sequence you just witnessed served several purposes. It effectively separates Alex and Gordon, alerts Dr. Breen and the Combine of your return as a viable threat, and sets the player off on their journey with a clear goal in mind: reach Black Mesa East. Several instances of content otherwise cut from the game can also be spotted in this scene, such as the barren, sandy wastelands and the ichthyosaur.
Here, Gordon Freeman is reunited with his
Gordon.
iconic crowbar. Having a commonplace tool as the initial weapon of the Half-Life games helps establish Gordon as an ordinary person, being thrust into extraordinary circumstances. It also helps to reinforce the fact that while the series is full of outlandish sci-fi elements, it still has its basis in the real world.
They'll get you to Eli's lab. It's a dangerous route, but there's a whole network of refugees, and they'll help you if they can. I'd come with you, but I gotta look after Dr. Kleiner. Oh, and before I forget, I think you dropped this back in Black Mesa. Good luck out there, buddy. You're gonna need it.
During development, many different animations were attempted for the civil protection officers. However, many of the various attempts didn't seem to fit them very well. It was then decided to give them a bullying personality by putting a touch of swagger in their step and having them lead with their chest as they walk. They also let their stun batons do the talking, so they always have one in hand. These small hints through body language are why players can recognize a Metro Cop's personality without much in the way of facial or vocal cues.
Attention protection team. Status evasion progress community. Response. Isolate. Isolate. Inquire. Attention protection team. Status invasion in progress in this community. Respawn. Isolate. Inquire. Attention protection team. Status invasion in progress. Respawn. Isolate. Inquire. Remaining units contained. Unidentified person of interest. Confirmed or established with local protection team. Released. Unidentified person of interest. Confirmed your civil status with local protection team immediately. Attention. Unidentified person of interest. Confirmed your civil status with local protection Attention protection team. Status invasion in progress in this community. Respawn. Isolate. Inquire.
Good God.
Vortigaunts are one of the few alien species to make the jump from Half-Life 1 into the world of Half-Life 2. Unlike barnacles and headcrabs, however, they are now allies of the player, who had freed their race with the defeat of the Nihilith. They now lend their mastery of electrical energy to the forces of the rebellion. They fight for their freedom in hopes of not returning to their history of servitude.
Guess those sirens are for you, huh? Good thing you found us. You're not the first to come through here by
This is the Freeman. The Combine's reckoning has come.
Look, we're just a lookout for the Underground Railroad. Main station's right around the corner. They'll get you started on the right foot. Meanwhile, let my Vortigaunt friend here give you a jolt to get you going.
That is all we can spare.
Be careful now. We really can't afford to get noticed. Civil protection catches you down here, it's bad news for the whole railroad.
We serve the same.
Reminder. Inaction is conspiracy.
Hit the road, Jack.
Behavior to a civil protection team immediately. Alert. Community ground protection unit. Help! Local unrest detected. Assemble, administer, pacify. Attention. Community. Unrest procedure code is now in effect. Inoculate. Shield. Pacify. Code. Pressure. Sword. Sterilize. Workforce intake hub. All teams respond.
Station 12, come in. Station 12, do you read?
This is Station 8. We heard 12 go down and out. Surgical strike units are targeting railway stations. Repeat, civil protection is coming down on underground stations. We're already getting refugees from line and outlying.
Ground protection team. Alert. Code. Isolate. Expose. Administer. Attention. Evasion behavior consistent with non-compliant defendants. Ground protection team. Alert. Code. Isolate. Expose. Attention. Unrest procedure code is now in effect. Inoculate. Shield. Pacify. Code.
Over here!
Pressure. Sword.
Keep going, friend. That station was raided, but there's others up ahead.
Community.
I'm gonna stay here in case any others come through. Gotta keep the railway alive.
Inoculate. Shield. Pacify. Code. Pressure. Sword.
The canals are populated with many small but dense and frequent details. This design choice allows for details within details. Anything from some ammo to a zombie to a skull and blood, rewarding exploration and adding richness to the world.
Attention all ground